All right, let's take a moment to talk about safety when using Nunchaku. As stated earlier, there is a decent likelihood of user injury because of the way Nunchaku is designed. But part of the training is to be so coordinated and have good peripheral and proprioception that you can basically negate all of that potential injury. Okay? So, but again, the biggest thing is starting slow. Start slow, practice often. Few minutes, okay? Even with my normal and advanced classes, we'll usually always start a minute or two with some of our basic exercises just to really hone in those skills and to bring us back to a centered spot before moving forward, okay? But as always, start slow. Also, when training with a partner, go slow, get your positioning, okay? Especially when doing wrist traps, right? Because we run the risk of hurting our partner. So make sure you go slow. Biggest piece of advice, and then gradually build up your speed. So you'll see time and time again as we're going here, up, down, and then go slow and catch, and then pick it up. Bum, bum, until you're comfortable with the level of speed, okay? One of the most common injuries, I'll just point this one out now, is going for that armpit catch and hitting yourself in the back of the head, okay? And there's a couple of reasons for that. Usually it's because the person is grabbing low and curling their wrist back towards themselves, okay? Because they feel like they need to do this to catch, but what usually ends up happening is they catch here by the cord and the nunchaku flings up. I'm going to use one of my safety nunchaku. I'll use the Ignite. We'll talk about this one directly in just a moment, but I will try to replicate. So I'm here and I'm here. So I'm curling my wrist up and back, so this stick is pointed up, and you can see this swings up towards me, okay? So those sort of things we want to avoid, and I'll mention these things as we go forward, but that's a really big one that I just figured I'd mention right off the bat. So, one of the first safety nunchaku I'll bring up is the most common and easily available, is a foam-covered PVC nunchaku, okay? So it's PVC plastic, decently durable. I mean, if you start whacking this on a heavy bag to get practice, it will break, okay? It's about a 1/4 inch, maybe slightly more, covered in foam, and just usually comes with a standard nylon or paracord connection, so which usually does the job, and it's usually tied by a knot to the inside. Very cheap. You can get these on Amazon, any martial arts retailer. Super common. They come in shorter versions for little kids, which is also fun, and to give them safety, because nunchaku is often seen as the cool, flashy weapon, right? We get to swing it all around and pass, and it feels so cool. So even myself, I teach this to little kids, but again, we go very slow, start with basic exercises, and use safety nunchaku, okay? On occasion, depending on where you get from, this connection will often be longer than what you standardly need, which can cause some issues. They're also very light, so they move very fast, and it can be hard for beginners to sometimes feel a proper weight in the technique. So as I'm swinging this, I can feel its weight, whereas when I swing this one, there's very little weight for me to feel, and so it can be hard for somebody to get used to trying to feel a nunchaku when there's nothing to feel. However, once you get better, it is a good exercise going back to these and seeing how good have I gotten with nunchaku, that if I can't feel this, do I know where and how that stick is moving. Okay, so but again, very cheap, decently reliable, and a really good starting product. Okay, next we'll look at the Ignite series. This has got to be one of my favorite training nunchaku. So here it is, the Ignite. It is, what's also nice is that these are octagonal. They have a denser foam, again about a 1/4 inch, slightly more foam, but it's a dense foam that is, I haven't actually seen the inside, but you can feel it is a solid internal piece that is definitely heavier than the PVC plastic. Okay, so again, very nice that you have that octagonal feel, especially for me. They do tend to come a bit long in terms of the cord, so another thing to watch out for, especially in situations like this where you swing and, hard for me to even do it wrong, and you get that coming up. Okay, so one of the best things in that case is to adjust your grip point, as well as having that proper mechanic. So from here, my wrist should be fairly straight, not curling and pointing this back towards me. Okay, but nonetheless, really nice. You can do minor impact with a partner. Okay, good for wrist catching because there's foam that wraps up next to the wrist, so that's very comfortable. They come in a variety of colors, which is nice. There's yellow, camo, black. There's really nice pink one. Some of them come with these rings on them, which jingle. Makes all your techniques feel cool as you hear that boom, boom. Okay, very nice. One biggest downside, they're not too expensive, but the biggest downside is that there are no American suppliers for this, so you need to order them overseas. I might potentially be bulk ordering and offering some through my site, but if you're curious, reach out to me, or I'll also provide the link so that you can get your own pair. So they take a little bit of time to get here, but super worth it. I absolutely love the Ignite series safety nunchaku. Okay, the last one that we'll go over today in terms of safety nunchaku is the Action Flex nunchaku. This is the Kuro Obi series. Kuro Obi is black belt. Action Flex series. Action Flex has made stabs, tonfas, short swords for stick fighting, so very useful. They allow near full force. You'll still definitely feel the sting of the impact, but you can practice at high speed, high intensity with relatively little injury. Okay, so they're decently thicker, so they take a little bit of getting used to. About half of the stick is solid, so this part up here is a solid piece. This has got a dense foam that's also fairly forgiving. It's more cushy. The second half is actually a flexible, usually it's a metal wire or rod that they put in there, and then more dense foam that's surrounding it. So you can hit really hard and you'll get that snap. You still feel it and sting, but you can still definitely hit, whereas you would never do that with a wooden nunchaku. And the Ignite series and the PVC ones, well, the PVC especially, is likely to break on an impact like that. The Ignite series I haven't put through harsh testing like that. It can handle mild impact, but I wouldn't recommend it based on how it is, but still definitely have in your arsenal. It's got this nice piece covering the top where the cord connection is, so that is also cushy and safe. It's got this really nice braided thick cord at the center, so you can still do your blocks You'll see in some of our videos we do this. Even with the flexible aspect of it, it still does a pretty good job of supporting the mechanics of the blocks when we go for our high block or even the low cross block, as you'll see when doing that against a kick. It still adds surprising amount of support, but it gives you that connection so you can put all of your techniques in. You could put in a high speed block, wrist trap, really practice crush, pull, and then whatever other technique you're going to go there with those. These are a bit more expensive, but if you're looking to have that super realistic feel of what can I actually do with Nunchaku, then this is for you. Now, because of that flexibility, depending on where you're grabbing, you will feel that as you swing, and it can throw you off a bit in terms of where's my momentum going, because now I have a second, if you want to think about it almost as like a joint, a second joint where this is curving and bending off. So actually, if I hold this straight, you can see that that's a decent amount that it can flex as I'm swinging. Usually I try to hold more towards the middle so that I'm only getting a tiny bit of that flex, but nonetheless, still a really good training tool and will increase your proprioception and coordination when dealing with Nunchaku. Okay, so those are your options. Again, always start slow and build things up and then modulate. Okay, so for most people, start off with the PVC. For kids, start off with the PVC. If you're more used to Nunchaku, then absolutely check out the Ignite series. You're gonna love it. They also have a couple other neat Nunchaku. There's a magnetic one, which is kind of cool. And then if you're looking for the high intensity, realistic practice, then go ahead and splurge and get the Action Flex. Okay, so keep those safety items in mind as we go forward, and let's get to it. Okay.